You know we're in for a good LP when the first video has a scratch recording. Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant. Welcome to the Let's Play the Pokémon Trading Card game for the Game Boy Color. If you haven't already watched the tutorial video and you have no idea what this game is about, I highly recommend you go back and check it out. This video is being recorded assuming that everyone has at least watched that video to gain a basic understanding of how the mechanics work, and I don't want to bore people who are already familiar with it. Now for this project, I will not be starting from a fresh file. I'll be starting from a partially completed one that has all of the master medals, and I've already collected a very large majority of the cards. And the reason for this is I wanted to give the opportunity to try a bunch of new and different card decks, especially the ones that you guys have been recommending in the first video. So if you're watching this within a week or so of when this video goes up, I think there's still time for you to suggest card decks if you haven't already. I'll try to use a different card deck for every video, and I'll probably be making each video exclusive to each specific club, so we get to use one deck per club. So the original area that we started off with, the tutorial, this is Sam, he's the guy who gave us the tutorial battle before. And this is, I want to say it's our hub, but it's really more like the Professor Oak's lab, where you have a bunch of assistants to help you out with stuff, teach you the new, not necessarily the new, but all the basic mechanics of the game, how it works. It's basically modeled after the traditional Pokemon games, where you have eight different clubs that are all based on 8 different elements. And you collect all 8 badges, you get to go fight the Elite Four. Now, as this guy is saying, we start off with one of 3 card decks that are given to us at the very beginning based on the Kanto starters. But after that, you're on your own to assemble any new or interesting card decks. And as we battle more people, we'll be getting booster packs, which give us 10 new Pokemon cards for us to build our new decks with. Now there is a whole nother room all the way off to the side here, and all of these are activated because we have the medals for them already. They allow you to build card decks based on all of the trainers that you fought in the other clubs and stuff. So if you saw somebody whose deck you really wanted to use for yourself, you can bring the medal here, insert it into the deck, and it'll build the deck for you, provided you have the cards. Now this guy, if you beat him in a fight, he will give you a booster pack full of energy cards. And since you only get 1 energy card per normal booster pack, he can be really useful if you need to grind for more energy cards. So like I said, since we have all the medals already, all of these are active, I could build a card deck based on any of the clubs around if people are interested in seeing them. But there are 8 different clubs. There's the Fighting Club, the Lightning Club, the Rock Club, Psychic, Science, Fire, Grass, and Water. And all the way in the middle is the Elite Four. Now there are 2 other areas in the game. There's the Challenge Hall, which I may or may not be showing off later, depending on whether or not it becomes available. This is a place where you can get some promotional cards that you can only get here, but I forget exactly what the circumstances are that allow it to be made available. There's also this guy's house. I'll explain more about him later. Probably. We'll see if I remember. But we'll be starting off with the Water Club. Now there are a couple of card decks that I really want to use, so I'll be showing them off first. And then after that, depending on what these suggestions are, I'll be moving on to some of the decks that you guys have suggested I use. But each of the clubs have this little lobby area off to the left side, full of people you can talk to. Occasionally they'll have another person waiting to battle you. I think since we've already beaten everyone on this file, they won't be hanging out in the different areas. And I think some of these guys will allow us to trade. So, I don't know if do I have a Lapras that I'd really want to part with? I have to check, because I have to do a lot of the... I haven't done any of the trades now that I think about it. I just want to make sure I have enough of the card before I trade it. I only have 3, but I think I have a deck full of them. So, yeah, why not? Let's make a trade. So this is a different Arcanine. I'm not sure if this... Was this in the base set? It may have been. Looks like it. So there's that. There are also these PCs which allow you to check out your card albums. Now there are 4 different types of booster packs, and you can see which cards that I have, which ones I'm still missing. I guess I have all of them from the laboratory one now. I guess I got one that I was missing in the scrapped recording. But there's still a couple of cards that I'm missing, like I'm missing a Vileplume here. But if you play often enough, you'll probably get them. So there's the Arcanine that we just got from the trade. I think I only have one other promotional card. You get these from certain battles or trades in the game, but you don't get them from booster packs. And occasionally throughout the game you'll be getting mails. Most of them are from Dr. Mason, and he'll have booster packs attached to them. So it's another way to expand your card collection. I guess there's a glossary if you need any basic information about the game. And the print function if you have your Game Boy printer, which I'm sure nobody does anymore. But what we're most interested in are the battles. So each of the clubs has a specific environment that you can explore around. There's really not much here other than 4 people. So you'd fight the 3 guys, and then you get to speak with the club master and challenge them for the medal. And the card deck I'm going to be using is one that I'm probably going to get the most flack for using in the first video from all of the veteran card players. This one is probably the most notorious deck of the original card game, being known simply as the Haymaker. I was lucky enough to get all 3 of the basics in the first fight when I was explaining this, but it didn't work out so well here. It's centered around 3 specific cards, which you have 4 of, and they're all relatively rare cards to get, so it could take some time to put it together. But we have an Electabuzz here, 70 health, 10 damage for 1 energy, 30 plus for 2 energy. Scyther here, who I placed out first. I wanted to explain him, but I wanted to put him out on the lead spot anyway. So Scyther, although its Swords Dance attack requires a Grass Energy, it doesn't do any damage. All it does is potentially double the damage of its attack if it's used on the following turn. And its attack slash doesn't require any Grass Energy. So you're able to put this thing in any deck that you want, regardless of the kind of energy that's required inside that deck. And she also put out a Dratini, which is a card I'm not all that familiar with. I think it just does pound for 10 damage. She also has a Farfetch'd, which is an interesting card in that for 1 energy, it allows you to flip a coin for 30 damage, but you're never able to use that attack again. And then Pot Smash does 30 but requires 3 energy. So the reason why I put Scyther out in the lead spot is because Scyther doesn't have any retreat cost. I can switch it out without having to discard any energy cards. I can go right into Electabuzz, and if we were lucky, we could have gotten that Paralysis. But the nice thing about this deck, it's specifically built to strike hard and fast, just like the name Haymaker would imply. Meaning I'm able to do 40 plus damage. Here I did 50 damage on 2 turns to knock out her Dratini. And I think this Farfetch'd is weak to electricity. If it is, we just won the game. I think I'm going to take a risk and just go for it. Yeah, it is weak to it. And that's the strength of the Haymaker. So whenever you get booster packs, you get 1 card with a rare, that's a rarity, a rare rarity. They'll be marked with the star. You only get 1 of these per booster pack. I believe you get 3 of the uncommon cards, which are marked with diamonds. You get 5 common cards, which are marked with circles. and you get 1 energy card, typically. I'm getting so many Hitmonchan. I think I have like 20 Hitmonchan, but it took me hours to grind for the 4 Electabuzz that I needed for that deck. That's how it goes sometimes. So you have to defeat all 3 of the trainers in here once before you're able to challenge the Clubmaster for their medal. And the reason why the Haymaker deck is so powerful is because you can hit for so little energy, and it doesn't really require too much strategy. In fact, oftentimes it does your opponent in before they're able to even get their strategy going. So many Hitmonchan. That's a waste. Hopefully you get a double colorless on the next turn. It's not very likely. She's probably doing the same. Let's see what we got. See, I'd like to use Hitmonchan. The problem is, since Scyther is resistant to fighting, Hitmonchan won't be able to do anything. I kind of want to stand pat and wait. Or maybe just put that on a Hitmonchan just in case something happens. We'll see. It's a bit of an awkward spot we're in right now. The Fairy Doll's interesting in that you can put it in and it would take damage as a Pokemon, but you can't draw a prize card from it, I don't think, if you knock it out. So I guess we'll do Super Energy removal to get those 2 energies off of Scyther. Not really sure if there's anything else I want to do at this point. Yeah, I'll hang on to that in case I happen to get an Electabuzz. So there's a double colorless energy I was kind of hoping for. I guess I'll put it on the other Scyther because we can always switch it in. But then, yeah, the nice thing about Scyther is that it has a 0 retreat cost, meaning that you're able to switch it out without having to discard any energy. So I could go straight into the other Scyther, and the reason why I was waiting to charge this one up was in case she happened to do damage to the other one. And no, I think she's still strapped for energy. So hopefully we'll be able to knock this thing out on the next turn. And I guess we'll remove energy from that Poliwag, although I'm not sure it's really necessary because I think that Poliwag is weak to grass. As I said in the tutorial, not all Pokemon are weak to the type of energy that you would expect them to be from the original game. The only weaknesses and resistances that matter are the ones that are on the card. So you can see this thing is weak to grass, but it's not weak to electric. And that can vary between the exactly which card you're using. But since it's weak, Slash will do 60 instead of 30. Now all we have to do is knock out one more Pokemon and we're in the clear. Now she also put down a mysterious fossil. I will check it because I don't think we'll be seeing it again. There's a chance that we will. But this thing, I don't think you're able to draw a prize from knocking this thing out either. But you need to place it down in order to set up any of the Pokemon that you would originally get from a fossil in the games. So this is how you would get an Ammonite, Kabuto, or Aerodactyl onto the field. You need to put this thing down first and evolve it. But if we have a Gust of Wind, we can switch in that Poliwag and knock it out to draw our final prize card. So I think you can see the power of the Haymaker deck already. So here's another type of booster pack that we can get. All of these will have different cards, and you can see the double colorless is an uncommon card. It doesn't count as an energy card when you're getting anything from these kinds of decks, or these booster packs. But you can see the Mysterious Fossil here comes with an Ammonite, which you need to evolve from Mysterious Fossil, and a Kabuto. And Kabutops, how about that? I'm not sure, I don't think I even had a Kabutops when I showed off all the cards in the original video, so that's good. Hopefully picking up some of the cards that we were missing before. But the Haymaker deck was so good and so overused back in the day, I believe it was even tournament banned at some point. And I never actually used, even though I was a big fan of the 3 cards that it's built around, I never built an explicit Haymaker deck. So this is my first time using it, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed. But again, putting Scyther in the lead spot because I can easily switch it out. We just check to see who else is in play. She's got a Tentacool. And I guess I'll remove the energy from the Lapras, why not? I think I'll hang on to the double colorless. Professor Oak, you discard your hand, draw 7 more, which would be nice, but I don't want to get rid of that double colorless energy. It'd be a bit of a waste to do that. So since Lapras is weak, it'll take 20 damage instead of 10, and we were able to get paralysis with the coin flip. That's exactly what I didn't want to see, which is unfortunate. If I don't get an electric energy, I may draw out already, but I think we're good. Okay, so let's get this thing back on. I don't want to get rid of it quite yet. And we got the paralysis again, nice. So Lapras is another one of those water energies that I like. Tentacool has a Pokemon power which allows it to return to the hand of the trainer at any point, which is kind of interesting. Don't see it used very often, though. So the power of the deck that we're using is that we can deal so much damage for so little energy. Here, Electabuzz is able to do 10 damage and paralysis with 1, or 30 plus with 2 energy. And pair that with its 70 health, makes it a very powerful card. So here's Hitmonchan, fighting type, does 20 damage for 1 energy and 40 for 3. Also nice to have. Let's remove that energy from Lapras so you don't try anything funny. I guess we'll put that on Hitmonchan. And Thunder Punch to make sure we knock it out. So it does help that these things are weak to Electric and Grass. But since we have 3 different types of Pokemon cards in here, it's really helpful all around, because you never know what kind of decks you're going to be facing in real life. So I guess we'll get a double colorless on Scyther while we're at it. And I could use the plus power to guarantee we knock it out. I think it's applied before weakness and resistance. If it does damage... Okay, it's after weakness and resistance, so there's... That means that as opposed to doing 40 before... Like, the Thunder Punch will do 30 damage. Guaranteed. If it's a heads, it'll do 80 damage. But if it was a tails, it would have only done 60 damage. And with the plus power, it would not have added 10 to the 30, it would have added 10 to the 60, meaning it only would have done 70 damage and not knocked the Lapras out. That's the thing I wanted to check. But I believe Horsey is also weak to Electric, which means that we should be able to knock it out and draw our final prize card. So I'm sure even those of you who aren't all that familiar with the trading card game have a better idea of what it's like now, having gotten a couple of games under our belt already. I don't know if I had a Ninetales before either. It's really nice to pick up on some of the cards that we're missing, because I grinded for cards a lot before, and there are still some that we're missing. But up here is Amy, she's the leader of the Water Club. And we need to beat her in order to get the water medal. Now her deck is based around one specific family of cards, which I'm sure you could probably imagine. And with my luck in the last game, she was able to set that up on turn 2. Hopefully she doesn't have as good luck this game as she did last game, otherwise we may be in trouble. But I really like the music for these battles too. And all of the important battles have... I did get an energy removal, right? All of these battles have 6 prize cards, the important battles do. As opposed to the regular trainer battles, which tend to have only 2 to 4, these all have 6. So let's get another fighting energy on, let's get more energy removals going. A really nice thing about the Haymaker deck is because you don't rely on any evolutions, you don't need all that many Pokémon cards, and as such, you're able to put a lot of trainer cards in which help support tremendously. So I guess we'll do... let's do the DCE on Scyther. Whenever I say DCE, I mean double colorless. If that's not immediately obvious, it's just easier to say. So she's already got a War Turtle going. That's not good for us. Guess we'll put a Lightning Energy on you. How much is your War Turtle up to? Or you spread those out, okay. So let's just knock out the Lapras and see what happens. Depending on when she evolves that War Turtle, we may or may not be seeing Blastoise and its Pokemon power, which is what her deck is based around. And unfortunately, since we're paralyzed, there's not going to be much we can do, even if we do get that fighting energy I wanted. That's a shame. So I guess we'll hold off for now. I probably could have used Super Energy removal there and just attached another energy on this turn. I don't know why I didn't. That was a mistake. I guess we'll do that this turn, then. If I only had the one double colorless, maybe that's why I didn't want to waste it. So let's do... oh no, I did have a Lightning Energy. Okay, let us do Super Energy removal, then. Get rid of the Lightning Energy on us, get rid of 2 of those, so we don't have to deal with the paralysis. I should have done that last turn. Because now she has to place down another Water Energy if she wants to knock us out. And how many are on your... you still spread them out. I think Super Energy removal, you can only discard energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. You can't spread it out. So let's do Lightning Energy on you, Special Punch for 40 damage, knock out that Squirtle. Would have been really nice if we could get an Electabuzz going, because it would just run train through her deck. She's getting all of the heads coin flips, it's really annoying. Now Confusion, just like the games, you will do damage to yourself if it fails, and if you try to retreat, you also have that issue where if you hit a Tails, you don't retreat and you do 20 damage to yourself. If you try to attack and you hit Tails, you'll do damage to yourself, and I don't believe it goes away at the end of the turn, which is really annoying. So... let me check my field. Do I have any cards I can get rid of? I guess I can get rid of the thing on the Scyther. So let's get rid of Lightning Energy to get rid of those 2, just in case we happen to hit ourselves. Which of course will happen because she was able to get 4 or 5 heads in a row, and of course the first time we try to coin flip we get a Tails. Always works that way. So let's bring in Scyther. Strap an energy to this thing. Oh, you know what? If I had 2+ powers, I probably could have knocked this thing out in 2 turns. I don't know why I didn't do that either. That's a shame. And again, she gets another heads, and we're confused. That happens so much more frequently in this game than you would realize. It honestly feels like the coin flips are always weighted against you, regardless of what you do. Except, of course, when it goes through and then nobody pays it any mind. So her Water Gun attack does 10 damage, plus 10 for each water energy she has, up to 30 damage. And I think we'll be able to knock it out on this turn, so I'm not sure if I want to use that Gust of Wind. course, we do damage to ourselves, and then we knock ourselves out. Confusion is really, really annoying. But we still have that Hitmonchan waiting in the wings that we've been powering up as we went. I'm surprised we have not gotten an Electabuzz yet. What is going on? Because I have 4 of each, and that's another thing about the trading cards and why I think 1 or 2 people suggested I do a deck that has 3 or more different kinds of Pokemon cards in it. This is the reason why. You can never count on getting the one that you want. So, who else do you have in play? Anybody I can knock out quick? Goldeen? Perfect. Let's bring in that Goldeen and get a free prize card. All of the extra space that we have in this deck, since we don't rely on evolutions... Do I have another super energy removal? I really hope I do. Do I? No, that's a shame. I'm tempted to just knock out the Goldeen, get the prize card, and then deal with the Blastoise later. This may or may not be a bad idea. Well, now that we have Electabuzz, maybe this will go a little bit more smoothly. Because if we didn't get that thing, we'd be stuck with just Scyther, and this thing's doing 50 damage. So let's get Electabuzz down... And... trying to think if the plus power would be worth it. If we have 2 plus powers, it's probably worth it. Because this will do 20 damage plus 10. It'll do the paralysis. And if we have another plus power, it'll do 60 plus 10. Meaning that we're guaranteed to knock it out with the extra plus power. Regardless of what we flip here. That should do 90 damage. And that's game! So it was a bit of a close one, considering that we didn't have all that many Pokemon left on the bench and she had a fully prepared Blastoise. But this is the last kind of booster pack that there is. We only get 3 different kinds of booster packs in here, but there's a 4th one available. We just haven't seen it yet. This is the last of the 4. And if that was our first time defeating her, we would have gotten the Water Medal, which is the fish one on the top right. So I'll probably be sticking to 1 card deck and 1 club per video, so that's going to do it for this one. But if you're watching this within the first week or 2 of it going up, there may still be time for you to suggest decks if you haven't already. I think there have only been maybe 2 or 3 of them that have been suggested to me, and I'll be showing off one of my favorite decks next time, so hopefully that'll leave enough room for you guys to suggest more if you have any that you'd like to see. But in any case, this is UniversalGiant, and next time, we'll take on a different club with a different deck. See you then.